there's so much misunderstanding about all of this, about, you know, building muscle and, you know, what you got to take to be able to do this or do that. And so there's so much bullshit out there, and because unfortunately a lot of you younger dudes, you're growing up in a world of diminished expectations, lowered expectation. So, you know, you can't relate, you don't see it, you think, you can't really understand the weight with which this shit I'm telling you really carries, the weight it really does carry, the true reality, cold hard truth. But I don't come from this generation, I come from an earlier generation, and so do a lot of other guys on here, and they'll agree with me. You know, it's a big difference. Anyhow, you know what? Unlike many people, let me explain to you. When I see somebody that's like 300-pound muscular monster, right? Monstrous freak. When I see somebody that's huge, you know, I got friends now that big. I don't think to myself, wow, that guy must be on a ton of gear. That's not what I think at all. I don't think that at all. Most of the guys on a ton of gear, they never reach that. They never really get to that. They don't achieve that. I don't know why. I think it just says a lot about the rest of their character and their knowledge and how they approach everything else they do, how they train, you know, how they eat, everything else. If they don't know anything about that part of it, they probably don't know anything about the rest of it. And it seems to prove itself out to me, because the guys that take the most shit, they never even look like that. They never even get there. So when I see these guys, I don't think to myself, wow, that guy's really risking his health because of all the drug use he must have to undertake. That's not what, that doesn't pop into my head. It does pop into my head that's a pretty bold individual, pretty daring individual to dare to even walk around like that, because I'm thinking about that he's walking a tightrope, the risk that he's taking with his health, his life expectancy. But unlike most people, I don't think that in correlation with any kind of drug use thing. I don't think that it's the drugs. I think it's the weight. I think it's the weight. I think a 300-pound guy that's mostly muscle is much more likely to drop dead sooner than the 300-pound guy that's just corpulent tissue, that's just fat ass. I think that the guy that's just a 300-pound fat ass is probably healthier. Not because of the drug use, just because of all the extensive capillary system that needs to be there to feed that muscle that has to have been developed, and just all that weight and the workload on the heart, the amount of food that he's eating and digesting and every other thing. I'm thinking that he's treating his body like an industrial machine. He's treating all the components and organs in his body like they're designed for industrial use, which they are not. He's taking like a standard pump and treating it like an industrial pump. What's going to happen? You know what I mean? You already know what'll happen. You're going to wear the son-bitch out. You're going to go through several of them. Whereas the more expensive, better built industrial version, that would have probably outlasted, you know, several of your cheaper standard use ones. Right? Application has a lot to do with the quality and the ability of the component, the designation of the component, the engineering of the component, its intended use, and life expectancy. Whoa, bumpity bumpity. So when I see that, I think that's a daring individual, pretty bold, and he's just playing roulette. He's playing roulette. And for some people, you know, I think the worst thing is those who want to deny that to themselves, and they know it's true. They know it's true. They're not stupid. So I think it's better just most guys accept it and just say, okay, well, it's a trade-off right now. You know, they know they're taking a chance, but they think that they're going to be the ones that beat the odds, and maybe they will be. Not everybody drops dead. You know, that soon or earlier just because of that. But then when you think about how many 60-year-old guys you see walking around 300 pounds, even 300-pound fat guys at 60, you know, now you're getting into an age range where it's just you don't see it. Not only do you not see muscular 60-year-old guys still cranking the gear that are that big, 300 pounds, nah, they're extinct, they're dead. There's no such animal. But you don't really see a whole bunch of 300-pound fat out of shape guys either walking around 60 years old like that, enjoying every day, living their life, you know, freely, without encumberments of ill health or, you know, restricted activity, you know, their ability to engage in activity being restricted because of their compromises they've made to their health, part and partial due to their weight and their condition. So that's what I think of it, how I look at it. I don't look at it like these are some kind of huge, you know, drug freaks, because I don't know that for a fact. I don't know that. I can tell you this, I only know myself and my experiences, which are extensive in this area. And I can tell you that I don't know anybody that takes as little. I know one guy that takes probably about as little as me, and he's damn big. He's friggin' huge. Well, when I'm on gear, even when I've been enormous, I was always bigger than, for that amount of gear, I didn't know anybody taking the same amount of shit as me that was my size. I knew lots of guys taking a lot more, hating on me, wishing they could look like me or have that much muscle. And I know guys that were similar size to me, but I was right there alongside all of them, and those guys were taking a lot more shit, and some of the shit they were doing seemed insane to me. So it's just, I guess it's genetics is a large thing to do with it, you know, number of receptors, whatever have you. Genetics probably has a ton to do with it. And plus, when you start early, you want to look up some studies. There are a lot of studies about that. Lifting from an early age, training from an early age, right? The amount of muscle that you'll eventually be able to obtain or ascertain. How much more easy it is if you had such an early start, had that foundation early on. And then it's, I guess, the amount of years that I had invested as a natural anyway, built a hell of a foundation when I was young and strong. But then again, my test levels were up there at a healthy range, no question. And now today, you know, my test levels are lower. So what's the difference, right? Natural, not natural, okay? Guy next to you, his test is in the shitter. He doesn't augment test. You got more muscle than him. You've built more muscle than him. You've both been training the same amount of time, both basically following the same routines, same type of diet, similar physiques from the start. He can't keep up with you. You've surpassed him. You have natural higher levels of tests just by nature. Your test levels are higher. His are low. He's got low T. So what's the big deal? Where's the pride? Hey, I'm a natty. Who gives a fuck? You didn't pick your parents. Who cares? You didn't pick the time you're born into either. You know? We all got low tests. Even people who have high tests, it's lower than it would have been. If not but for all the pollutants and toxins and shit we done to the environment. Don't even get me started with all the frequencies, you know, passing through our bodies all day long. The radio waves, the fucking all kind of craziness. It's fucking with the birds, fucking with the insects. Mark my words, you'll find out sooner or later. They already know it. It's known shit. You want to go dig something up instead of digging up every little study about lifting weights and building muscle. You know, dig up the real studies. Dig up studies about that kind of shit. You'd be amazed at the environmental impact some of this shit's had. Where's this guy trying to go? I don't even understand this. He's getting into the middle of the road lane coming up. What a fucking nutty ass driver. Where the fuck did you learn to drive, dude? Where in the fuck did you learn to drive? Anyway, I don't really have anything to talk about. I'm tired a little bit because I'm old. I have low T, and I'm drinking some coffee to try and pick myself up a bit because I'm hoping to work out. I guess it's starting to work, so I felt talkative. Sorry to put you through that.